Welcome. This is Indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed, in for Dr. Rashad Ritchie today. I'm so proud and honored he lets me sit in this chair. Okay. Nobody tell him what goes on when he's not around. Okay. This is a special day. Anytime she clears her schedule to join us, it is, it's like royalty. It's like having royalty on the show. Senator Nina Turner, the one and only, glowing former Ohio State Senator, a fellow at the Institute for, let me get it right, Race, Power, and Political Economy. Did I get it right?
Got it.
Maybe a little
Got
out of
it.
order. Senator, we're so honored to have you here as always. You're special, and I learned something from you every single time you speak. So let's get into it, shall we?
Thank you, Sharon. Yes, we shall. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you, sitting
Yeah,
in for the one and
so
only Dr.
I got
Rashad.
goosebumps. I got goosebumps because she's here. All right, the first story of the day. Racist man fires a gun at an electric company salesman. You see the perp. Now, let's tell you what's going on. Fort Worth, Texas, homeowner Edward Camp shot at a black electric company salesman when he arrived on his doorstep. The salesman, who survived the encounter, was choosing to hide his identity when speaking with NBC5 Dallas Fort Worth News. An identified man who does work at the electric company, Reliant Energy, was knocking on doors in East Fort Worth asking homeowners about their bills. That was earlier this month. NBC DFW reported when the veteran sales agent approached a residence on Purrington Avenue, he was shook up after he saw how the resident responded. He just came out and just straight pointed the barrel at me and then shot me and told me to get away from here. Well, the man told the outlet these horrifying details. I'm lucky it didn't hit me. It hit the table. Lana Blackstar filling in the details for us. Now, in NBC DFW's news broadcast, the victim showed the damaged tablet, which was shattered by the bullet. Just amazing. He wasn't injured. He said he usually holds the device at the side of his body, but that day it was in front of his stomach. He was able to escape, call the police, who responded to the scene. This is the one thing I always fear, getting shot at the door, and today it happened. The man explained per the outlet. I got 2 daughters. I could have been in the hospital, dead now. Suspect was not inside the home when officers arrived. A spokesperson for the Fort Worth, Dallas Police Department told Atlanta Black Star on Monday, 58-year-old Edward Camp was arrested on February 13th, charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Jail records show Camp is being held at Tarrant County Correction Center on a $150,000 bond. Here's the response from the salesman's employer. Reliant released a statement saying they're working with police on the investigation. We're in the process of learning more, but thankfully the sales agent was not harmed. Well, not physically, perhaps. Safety and security of sales agents is our top priority, the statement said. Now, Senator, I don't want to disparage Reliant in any way because they're not the focus of this story. But I do wonder when people will realize the times we live in. I'm not sending any Black person out to go door to door in Fort Worth or perhaps every other part of this country. And I don't think that that's radical. I think that that is, obvious. I think it's obvious, Senator. What say you react to this incident?
Unfortunately, Sharon, you are correct. There were days gone by, just as few as 10 years ago, that it was safer to go door to door. But we know what happened to this Reliant worker as an example of the decay in our society, our gun obsessed society. The society says shoot first and ask questions later. And your point about the type of community, man, at least Reliant can look at the type of community that they're sending people in and maybe choose accordingly. That's a really sad thing to say in the 21st century, but it is a reality. And based on how the homeowner responded to this worker who does not want to be identified by calling him the N-word, it is very clear how he feels about Black people. He shot this man, and but for a tablet, who knew a tablet could pose as a bulletproof vest, but in this case, that tablet was a bulletproof vest for this man who not only could have been just shot, he could have been killed. So these are sad times, Sharon. It really is.
Yeah, they really are, Senator. And I wonder when we do these cases, and indisputable, Dr. Ritchie's team, they do such a good job at the follow through. Because often the news reporter in me, the investigative journalist, the news cycle moves on and people forget, and there are plea deals and lesser charges and things. And I don't know if I believe that there should be increased penalties, laws on the book for this kind of thing, but I believe in calling a thing, if you will. What can we do to try to put up a roadblock, deter these bigots from opening fire at first knock?
Yeah, and we know there are countless stories over the years of people. I remember a story of a teenager that was seeking refuge and just knocked on the door, and the homeowner just opened up fire. Now, there's one thing to be concerned. Like there's no doubt. You and I are not debating whether or not homeowners have a right to feel safe in their house, but somebody knocking on your door is not an imminent threat. You don't have to open the door. You can look out the window and look at the door to see if in fact it is. But that's not the debate. To open the door with pointing the barrel of a gun at somebody and then to open fire on that person. So what can we do? First of all, people need to stop acting a fool.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, laws are important, but people's actions, that gut instinct to not only take your gun to the door, but to shoot at this person first, says that there's something wrong with this person, Sharon. So yeah, laws are important, but how we comport ourselves is important as well. And even if there had been, and there's laws on the books right now. So he's been charged with aggravated assault, meaning what he did was illegal. So that's already on the books. But what do we do to stop people from responding this way immediately out the gate? And that means that people like this man have to search their souls and their hearts to determine why you thought that was the best course of action in the first place. And then secondly, because we do already have laws on the books for this, the book must be thrown at this man. He must be made an example. And hopefully by making him an example, that may or might deter others from acting out in the same way.
Yeah. What happened to those laws that were on the books where, like, they had them for certain drug offenses that people were charged with, where the judge had no discretion. You get the book thrown at you. That's it. But real quick, before we move on to the next one, Senator, you're an activist. You've been one your whole life. You campaign. You've won public office. I just want to live, and I want my child to live, and I want Black people to be able to live. What is the advice? Because I can't imagine that you have not felt some trepidation going and knocking on doors. I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, I have, Sharon. I mean, just in 21, 22, when I was running for Congress and going door to door, not just me personally going door to door, but also I had staff, people going door to door, both staff and volunteers going door to door. And there wasn't a moment that I didn't fear that something may happen. I mean, you hope that it doesn't. You send people out 2 by 2. You tell them what to do to knock on the door, step back, have the t-shirt on or the sweatshirt on so they're easily identifiable. But even in cases like that, you just never know. And what happened to this man, I mean, he wasn't, according to all reports, he didn't do anything wrong. This homeowner just decided to, again, shoot first and ask questions later. You and I were talking off camera about maybe gone are the days where people can go door to door. And I remember growing up, that was the thing, So it's just really a sad day in America where people can't, this even neighbor to neighbor. What if he wasn't working for a company? Maybe, your neighbor is knocking on the door just to even ask for some help. And to think that this person would shoot first and ask questions later is really a sad commentary on the state of our nation, Sharon.
I sold Girl Scout cookies, fundraisers. I would never let my daughter. I don't even want her trick-or-treating. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to take away all joy, so I will go out there with her and a few people we know, but it's a sad commentary. And like you said, if I'm not expecting anybody, guess what Sharon Reed does? I don't even care if the TV's on. They hear me moving around in there. I don't answer the door, Senator.
That's right.
My house. Okay.
That's right.
But I'm not going to open the door, guns blazing. Okay.
No.
It's a sad commentary. We'll move on to this one. And unfortunately, it's not going to get any better. Mistrial in the case against the cop who shot Casey Goodson Jr. last Friday. An Ohio jury failed to reach a verdict in the murder case for the former Franklin County Sheriff's Deputy Jason Mead, on the left there. Stands accused of killing 23-year-old Casey Goodson Jr. on the right, December 2020, resulting in a mistrial. It was outside of his family's home in Columbus, where Goodson was fatally shot multiple times in the back by Mead. So right there, that's what you really need to know. But I'm going to go further. Mead was charged with murder, reckless homicide, following year. The incident having happened amid a wave of high-profile killings of Black Americans at the hands of law enforcement. Okay, again, so this is just the spotlight was white hot at the time. This has been going on. Associated Press reported on Friday, February 16th, Franklin County Court of Common Pleas Judge David Young announced a mistrial, a backtrack, hailing the jury for their efforts. The jury told him they could not reach a concrete decision, but he urged them to keep deliberating. However, the jury deadlocked hours later. The judge confirmed the mistrial. Quote, there were jurors back there that obviously felt that Jason Mead was responsible for the unjustifiable killing of Casey Goodson. And that should make a statement. Goodson's family attorney, Sean Walton, telling the outlet Atlanta Black Star, with the details here. Let's recap the shooting. 4 years prior, Mead was assisting the U.S. Marshals in a search of a fugitive who was not Goodson. Not. During this time, he claimed he saw Goodson brandishing a gun inside his car, decided to trail him to his grandmother's residence. Wow. This starts the deadly encounter. Mead alleged Goodson was holding a weapon and plastic bag when he was approaching the home. Mead reportedly ordered Goodson to put his hands up, but opened fire when he didn't comply. He's at his grandmother's door. Comply with what? I don't know, if I'm being stuck up. What on earth? This is all it takes? Goodson's family has reiterated he was holding his keys and sandwiches in his hands, while also having AirPods in his ears. Every bit of that is normal. Every bit of that you can relate to. Normal things. They said that he had a license to carry, legal, and didn't contest that the weapon may have been on him. It was discovered inside the kitchen with the safety on. The weapon has nothing to do with why he was shot here. During his trial, Mead argued he was acting in self-defense after Goodson, who had his back turned, pointed the gun at Mead. There's no body cam footage of the shooting, so we're still there, right? Still not required, still doesn't have in every jurisdiction that thing where it automatically kicks on. So it's, well, the cops were against a dead man who can't speak. Judge is expected to meet with both teams to determine the next steps in this case, according to the reports. Quote, we place jurors in impossible situations because they have to be clinicians. They can't use empathy and sympathy and that type of stuff, Mead's attorney Mark Collins said per WCMH. But the reality is they did the best that they could, and that's so justice was served today. Well, justice was not served, and I'm not blaming the jury, but I have a problem. I'd like to start there, Senator, with that last comment by the defense attorney who's priming the next jury for a retrial here. Juries actually do work with empathy. They do it every day when they look at people who are accused who look like them, or they know someone like that, and they're more willing perhaps to buy their story than someone else's. This is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He had sandwiches.
Yeah, it is.
He had sandwiches.
He had sandwiches.
And I don't appreciate this defense attorney's commentary here, but I guess he's allowed to make it, Senator. Make this make sense if you can.
He is allowed to do that because he is defending his client. So he's going to say that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I agree with, I mean, look, the jury did the best that this jury could do. It was a jury trial. And because it was a jury trial and they couldn't come to an agreement, that's why it's a mistrial. So let's repeat that for our viewers to understand. Now, the fact that the defense attorney is saying that juries are not supposed to have empathy or sympathy is called being human. Of course, we try to solve for those emotions, but you can't totally take those emotions out of the equation. The fact that this deputy thought it okay to shoot this black man in the back, that's key. And then to say you thought your life was in danger when this person's back was turned to you. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But oftentimes, Sharon, the science shows very clearly that when you are in those when you're in those moments, we're trying to analyze what was in the mind of this officer when they opened fire. So that's one thing. The second part of this is that we know law enforcement can just say, I thought my life was in danger, and whether they really thought that or not, that is a defense that they can use thanks to the United States Supreme Court. So this is a complicated subject in terms of how we deal with this as a nation. One thing that we do know, they kind of always seem to fear for their lives when black people, for the most part, when you do the comparison, when black lives are involved compared to somebody else. And that raises the issues of biases, our internal biases, cultural competency, how this society, and we are as individuals live in this society, see black people compared to anybody else. It is very clear, both academically, on the social science side and on the hard science side, that we as a society, whether we're in law enforcement or not, are programmed to see black people, particularly black men, as more criminal and more dangerous than anybody else. And that in and of itself, Sharon Reed, is dangerous to black people.
Yeah, it is. And if you don't care about black people, let's just take what you said a little bit further. Black people aren't any more dangerous than anybody else. Nope. So if you're a police officer who is predisposed to see blackness as a weapon and dangerous, what about everybody else? Aren't you leaving yourself open there? It's like, and I've used this before, so forgive me, but when they would throw at me at the anchor desk, police looking for a black man, I'm not going to say that. Every black person doesn't look alike. Okay, I had a floor director, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's him. Is he the person who escaped? So you're not even helping the public if this dangerous person, this assailant, is out there and desperate they are to catch him. You're not helping. So I think that's something to look at. But I prefer, since we can't get around these biases, and they really should be weeded out, and people have got to be deprogrammed and then get some sense put into them in the academy and before. Maybe it can't just be several weeks, it's got to be years perhaps, but who would do that? But I really particularly want to stick with the protocols. You thought you saw a gun, so you started trailing him. Turn the lights on. Why don't you turn the lights on? So a man with AirPods in carrying a sandwich isn't going to be startled and turn around and then be shot dead outside his grandma's house. This can't possibly be a situation where protocols were followed, because this is, if it is, then we're all doomed. Okay, so let's cut the crap here. This officer should be on the hook, I believe, for this man's death, who was minding his own business. But I also believe that there are things that are so obvious jumping out at us, Senator. It's either all or nothing. How can that be possible? This is the protocol?
Yeah, no, it's true. He probably was not following protocol. And if that is the protocol, then God help us. These departments need a new protocol. And if he's that afraid, maybe he shouldn't be a law enforcement officer. Because I won't deny that there are times when law enforcement are in some pretty, dangerous situations. I mean, my son is in law enforcement. I worry about him every single day. You cannot walk around thinking or feeling as though you're going to just shoot people in the back, or you just going to shoot first and ask questions later. And Sharon, your point about this law enforcement officer pursued Goodson. He didn't have to do that. And if he thought something really was going down, he didn't call anybody. And you're right, where was the camera? See, that camera footage protects everybody. It also protects law enforcement too, at those times where people lie or exaggerate, which does happen. So it helps the public, but it also helps the law enforcement officers as well. But of course, in this situation, we do not have it. My condolences to the Goodson family for this, and we shall see what the next trial yields, Sharon.
I'm just so tired of this slow singing, flower bringing, no good reason for. I can't make sense of it. I can't. And then there's this one. Cancer is just a bear, and we're looking for a cure. Thought we'd have one by now. But there are things that are preventable. This woman has terminal cancer. Didn't have to come to this. It was due to negligent prison staff. You know that thing where they catch it early and you have a shot, you're going to be okay. They just get you the treatment you need. But then this is Mississippi. Susie Balfour, age 62, filed a lawsuit this week alleging that healthcare providers contracted by the Mississippi prison, where she was incarcerated for decades, withheld her cancer diagnosis and left her to suffer in pain for years. Suit includes multiple healthcare companies and dozens of physicians and nurses for violating her constitutional rights and denying her timely and proper medical care, leaving this cancer that developed in her breast undiagnosed for years until just before her release. I guess at that point, it's on you to deal with, huh? Balfour was serving time behind bars at the Central Mississippi Correctional Facility for 33 years. For at least 10 years during her sentence, the suit alleges healthcare providers named in the suit failed to recognize or outright ignored the presence of suspicious masses in her breast, even though Balfour complained of pain, tenderness, and lumps. Atlanta Black Star with the details. She had infrequent mammogram appointments between 2011 and 2021, in which doctors noted in multiple reports over the years that the calcifications forming in her breast were increasing, but benign, or probably benign. Well, let's pause there, because then I could be a doctor, right? I've not taken one medical school course, but I could guess that I could be a doctor then, right? In Mississippi, contracted by the Bureau of Prisons down there, I qualify. There's more. Probably benign. However, according to Balfour's attorneys, some doctors' billing records indicate doctors were providing services related to malignant neoplasm in breast that suggests they may have already detected cancer. I'd say that's beyond a guess. That's what you would call a hypothesis, right? It's an educated guess, and perhaps more. It wasn't until November 2021 that Balfour received a biopsy. Okay, almost 10 years, which revealed cancer cells. She was not notified until mere days before her release, December 2021, that she had breast cancer, according to the complaint. After her release, Balfour went to another doctor, underwent more exams, which confirmed it. She had stage 4 breast cancer that spread to her lymph nodes, bones, and liver. It is not the diagnosis you want. The suit maintains that the defendants allowed her cancer to progress from stage 1, which was treatable, to stage 4, which is spreading throughout her body and untreatable. Because of the defendant's deliberate indifference, the suit states surgical intervention such as a mastectomy is simply not an option. Balfour's condition is now untreatable, and it is terminal. Let's get to a possible cause of her cancer ailment. Suit states that during Balfour's incarceration, she and other prisoners were required to clean the prison with chemicals known to cause or contribute to causing breast and other cancers without any protective equipment. The suit purports that at least 15 other incarcerated individuals at CMCF have cancer and are not receiving necessary life-saving treatment. Suit seeks compensatory and punitive damages. What about jail time? This is horrific. I don't want to hear about Putin's horrible, disgusting behaviors. You better go down to Mississippi and see about something. Let's give you the response from the prison only because I have to. I don't know why they would even respond to this. I would shut up. I would just shut up at this point. You're not to be trusted. But it's here. The team got the statement. Spokesperson for Mississippi Department of Corrections told the Mississippi Free Press that the agency doesn't comment on active litigation. The outlet also reached out to the 3 healthcare companies named in the suit who have not returned a comment. Well, I changed my mind. Now I do want you to answer. Okay, because you got the money, right? You want to keep the contract, right? Isn't that what it's all about? Bean counter, right? Because you're only supposed to provide the bare minimum, okay? It's like that cheap baloney. We want to just keep costs down and people get bonuses and all that nonsense for keeping costs down and using free labor. Have we really come that far? Have we come that far? Are we different than other places? Mississippi would be indication one that we're not. Senator, she deserves money. That's the American way. There should be punishment, punitive, I think they call it. This is a cousin of murder, or maybe just outright murder. To me, that's my opinion. She could have been helped, but you see people who are incarcerated as trash, as lower than low, of not deserving of basic care, just basic care, because you want to save money. I'm disgusted, and we know this has been going on, whether a woman's trying to give birth, is pregnant, all kinds of filth in these prisons. And let's not forget that not everybody in prison should be there, and not everybody in prison should be there for that long. And no one in prison should have to deal with these consequences. Not if you're a civilized nation who wants to preach to other people. I've already said too much, Senator. I need for you to take it and get us over the finish line here. I could be wrong, but I'm emotional.
I'm at the church of Sharon Reed right now. The gospel according to Sharon Reed. I mean, I could listen to you in your monologue all day long. You hit all the nails on the head. It is Mississippi. It's bringing a song to mind that was sung by the great, incomparable Nina Simone. Mississippi Goddamn is the title of the song. And she was talking about lynching and black bodies swinging from poplar trees. Well, symbolically, that prison was a tree. This did not have to happen to Miss Belfour, as you laid out, Sharon, just a callous indifference to her life. And the fact that, yeah, not just in Mississippi, but in most prisons in this country, in this industrialized nation, they see people there as throwaway no matter what. And other nations handle imprisonment a lot different than we do. And your point, Miss Sharon Reed, about how we got the pure, unadulterated gall to point our fingers at other nations. You know, there's something in the Christian Bible that says before you start to try to pull the mote out of somebody else's eye, you ought to get it out of yours. We have so many problems and challenges in this country. And it is especially because we purport ourselves to be better, to be of higher order, to be a democracy, to treat our people differently than these other countries that are more autocratic, but and authoritarian. But when it comes down to it, examples like this one just reminds us and reinforces that ultimately we are really not much better than them. So this family, they sentenced this woman to a death sentence. And as the reporting is showing, and thank you, Atlanta Star, again, that others have contracted cancer as well. And then the prison, especially the healthcare providers, they don't want to say nothing. They don't want to say anything because they know that what they did is wrong. My last point, the commodification of healthcare is wrong. And that's what they're doing, whether you're in prison or out of prison, Sharon. They commodify healthcare and they treat us all like we're a bunch of widgets. Because if the insurance company says you can't get that treatment that your doctor say you need, you might not get it anyway.
Senator, this is what scares me and terrifies me. I have chills just listening to you bringing everything together. It's not the dogs at the top in Mississippi, the bean counters, who are implementing the policy. It's that so many people would go along with this. I think I could be wealthy if I were able to escape my own conscience and just go along and get it. I can't do it.
You and me both.
I can't do it. Who are these people? Senator, we would have been fired because Nina and Sharon would have given each other a look. I said, well, I gotta tell her, I'm not doing this. I
This
probably
ain't
blown the
right.
whistle. I wouldn't have let it go. Okay?
That's right.
Now I'm without a job and benefits, but why are there so many people? Am I wrong? Are they scared? Who would go along with this? Your neighbors. Who would do this?
Yeah.
It took a whole lot of people to accomplish this, no?
A whole lot of people. It's an indictment on those individuals and also an indictment on the system itself. The way we use and imprison people in this country. You know, that debate about the 13th Amendment, complicated amendment, doing away with chattel slavery in the United States of America. But we know there's a loophole in it when it comes to people who are imprisoned. And we need to deal with that. We really do, Sharon. This is incredibly sad.
Call it what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want more. And I know we look to the federal government that's fully flawed in many areas to handle some of this. But I don't want to hear about quiet investigations and this and that. You better get down to Mississippi because there are civil rights. It's a civil rights debacle down there. And it happens to be aimed at people like us. This is indisputable. We have the Honorable Senator Nina Turner, who is my absolute favorite. I aspire to be her. I just want to be in her presence. That's good enough, right? There's only one Nina. But I can be in her presence, and so can you. You are a freedom fighter who's quite buff with those shoulders. I will get there too. Okay. I told you, don't tell Dr. Ritchie what goes on when he's not here, okay? He said, do the show the way you want to do it. And so maybe I took a few liberties. I got to stop. This is indisputable. Much more when we come right back. I just love her.
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. Here at TYT, we understand this. That's why we're not gonna price gouge you or use inflation as an excuse to raise our prices. A TYT membership is not your typical subscription, but basic membership is still just $4.99. So what do you get for that price? For starters, you're getting exclusive programming, unique, exclusive designs from Shop TYT, access to a members-only chat, giveaways, emojis, and so many other amazing perks. But most importantly, you're helping to make an impact. As a TYT member, you not only help us do the shows every day, but you drive real positive change in the process. In 2017, we helped to start Justice Democrats right here on TYT. That's a group that got a dozen progressives elected into Congress. That's amazing, you did that. Your support also funds TYT's very own investigative reporting. Just recently, our reporters exposed the Fellowship Foundation and pressured lawmakers into boycotting that bigoted event. Isn't that amazing? We raised over $30,000 for Jackson, Mississippi, and delivered clean water to thousands of people in need. Our petitions, polls, and community of activists help keep the corruption of Washington in check. That's the impact of what just $4.99 a month from our members can do. And we're just getting started. Positive change doesn't occur overnight, but with your contribution, we can make it happen together.
I got pulled in. They told me, hey, listen, Cenk, we're insiders. We are the establishment. People in Washington tell me that they're concerned about your tone. We think that there's a better role for you, and it's not in 6 o'clock. The problem with the mainstream media is they're desperate to get access. They don't challenge the government. They don't challenge power. We're supposed to challenge the government. That's the role of the media.
Components that corrupt our politicians, I think, also corrupt mainstream media. It's really difficult for cable outlets to talk about things like income inequality, wealth inequality, when the advertisers that are funding their shows are the same corporations that want to ensure that the same system continues. People watch digital media or new media, they get a completely different message. They focus on the issues that matter or resonate more with the constituency. We need to know one thing. Is the corporate media incompetent?
Corporate media, I can't hear you. Establishment press, where are you? I can't hear you. But the media's position I am clear on. Everything is pro-war, so everything is just framed that way. In this case, I mean, war is inevitable, right? I mean, the defense contractors should get a couple more $1 trillion. You ready for the stunning results? Only 6% of people say they have a great deal of confidence in the press. Wakey, okay? Progressives don't like the media either. You know why? It's the corporate media. Corporate media sounds like a conspiracy. Wait. Who owns you? Multi-billion-dollar corporations, public corporations. Yeah, we're corporate media because corporations own us. Yeah, that's how it works.
Join the Dragon Squad by becoming a YouTube channel member. Click the join button below or sign up on tyt.com/join to get access to fun emojis, a member-only chat, exclusive shop TYT designs, ad-free watching, and so many other amazing perks. Plus, you get bragging rights for being part of the coolest community on the internet and help us drive real positive change in the world. The Dragon Squad awaits, so join today.
I'm enjoying myself. This is Indisputable. Sitting in the chair for Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Our special guest co-host today is the one and only Senator Nina Turner, okay? I don't know why they allow her to be on with me, okay? Grace me with her presence, but no, I love it. And I love your style too. I got these at Costco, but yours look designer. But it's okay. I'll step it up in every way because of you. You're an inspiration. Let's get to some TYT member comments now. The security dragon has this to say. He sees it too. Two very beautiful, intelligent beauties. I enjoy watching the glow that comes from you both when you speak, and the knowledge you speak of makes me proud to know your wisdom is on full display. Love you both. Well, security, we love you. Okay, and that was very sweet. We love it. Let's see, Squidney 456. OMG, yes. Two beautiful Black women for Black History Month. Love to see it every day. Every day should be it. And matter of fact, Senator Turner, you've been posting some real jewels during this Black History Month. I've seen it on Instagram. So make sure people know your handle because I'm learning some things and sharing some of your stuff. Okay.
Thank you. That's the Black History professor in me coming out. As you know, once upon a time, I taught at Cuyahoga Community College, where futures begin.
Remember
but yeah, Nina Turner, Ohio. Go on IG and look at some of the Black History nuggets. I'm mining some of that from others out there posting, but also posting some of my own. This is Black History Month, folks, and so we should celebrate both the rhythm and the blues. A lot of times, Sharon, we get caught up in the blues because the blues are heavy.
Yep.
But I don't want us to forget about the rhythm of what it means to be Black Americans and the contributions that we are making today because of the shoulders and the backs that we stand on for elders that are walking the earth today, and also those who are on the ancestral plane. We are here being able to do what we do, Sharon. Even for us to be on the network TYT is because some other generation sacrificed so that we can be in this moment. So please, I want to encourage everybody to look into Black history, even beyond enslavement and beyond chattel slavery, because there's a bigger story to be told. Chattel slavery is vitally important, absolutely, because it is what made this country a hegemonic nation. But I want you to go beyond that. Like look at the whole thing and not just that moment.
Standing on the shoulders. And I like the way the light hits your shoulder. Okay, it's just picture perfect.
Can I just say, I love Sharon Reed. Let me tell you something. Nobody pumps up a sister's ego like
well,
Sharon.
It's true. And I find myself when I look at you, and I know we're going to get to some other comments, but because you are eternally young, forever young, and yet you have all this wisdom. Like, we can't figure out your numerical age, right? All of this teaching, all of this experience, public office. And I love it. Black is beautiful. You're beautiful, Senator.
It's beautiful. It is, Sharon. And don't crack if you take care of it. So I am a witness.
We know you do. And really, that's the last point I'm going to make, but I really encourage you to put out some kind of workout book or something, because it's an inspiration to me. Maybe a 30-day plan. Just think about it. Talk to your people.
Thank you. I will. And when I come to the ATL, I'm coming to see you. And if you come back home to your other home, known as Cleveland, Ohio, the 216, the land, please, we can go and be with my trainer together.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Maybe you could have like a group boot camp or something. The mistrial for the cop who shot Casey Goodson in the back, killing him. Dragons don't know I'm not real bacon says. Anytime a cop says they were afraid, they should play the clips from January 6th and Uvalde and ask them, so you were this afraid of someone not even facing you?
That's a hell of a point.
That's a hell of a point. I'll give you one more. YouTube, Bernie the Kiwi Dragon, more on that bigot who shot the Black salesman. Brit here, you know why I don't worry when I open the door? Because we don't let every dumb arse have a gun just because they want one. Guns are an issue. And the other issue are the people who carry them to hunt and kill those they don't see as human. Boy, they're everywhere. And I don't come. If Senator Turner holds a boot camp, there's someone, she's a good person, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you are this, don't come, don't show up. Your money's no good. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
He doesn't even understand the language. It's a language barrier. There was a mistake with rice, and now the food's cold. She's going to have to remake it twice. She's overwhelmed. She's probably on. I even started to film. I don't know what's happening, but I explained myself very clearly to her, and she got like offended. There was a mistake with hard rice, like someone undercooked the rice. Look at her flustered right there. Okay, can I go now? There's no frustration. I'm not frustrated at all. I'm very happy.
I'm asking your receipt.
Okay, but you asked 5 minutes after because you got mad.
No,
it's too late.
Give you a free food.
You're not giving any free food.
No,
You're in. I don't want to say what I want to say because I know.
You're working in the Starbucks, right?
And we don't ask for receipts. We exchange it right away.
I know
and
that.
You're being condescending. You just rolled your eyes at me. You're gonna get fired because of this. This will go viral. I would be so happy if you got fired
Go ahead.
because you're the manager and you're ruining the business of Panda Express.
I didn't I didn't
You're jealous? You're jealous? Because I can't provide something. I can go get it now, but you asked 6 minutes into our conversation. This is at a lunchtime rush. People are walking out of the business because they don't even want to come in here. So what are we doing here? Either way, you're going to make me food again. I'll pay for it.
This is your food, sir.
No, it's cold now. I have money to buy my lunch, and she won't. I need warm food. And before the lunch rush to get out of here so I can go back to work. You're not sorry. It's not fair. You're embarrassing me. I feel like I should sue them for a lawsuit. You're embarrassing me. You're making a scene. I'm very embarrassed right now.
You're the one embarrassing.
No, you're embarrassing me.
No, I didn't.
Everyone's looking at me. It's making my heart bump like 100 beats a minute because I'm embarrassed.
I tried to understand.
Okay, thank you.
You're just here right now.
She's still saying to pay for it. This is the world we live in.
Well, that part I do agree with. This is the world we live in. A male Karen berating, harassing a Panda Express employee, manager, over rice. And, well, multiple choice question, if you will have it, Senator. A, misunderstanding. B, having a bad day. C, jerk/bigot.
I'm gonna go with BNC, if I may. Maybe having a bad day and definitely a hint of bigotry there. I mean, just can't have some patience with one another. That could go a very, very long way. And maybe the manager was having a bad day too. I'll say, Sharon, I do agree. Managers are supposed to be trained to diffuse the situation. Mm-hmm. There's one point that he made about, if I were the manager, besides trying to talk him down, or I don't know, depending on whether I was having a bad day or not, cuss him out, which you're not supposed to do. But I would have given it to him for free. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. But did he, on either side, did he have to do and treat her and talk to her and say there's a language barrier and all of that, getting all up in his self-righteous feelings in that way? No, he didn't have to comport himself that way. He should not have done that at all.
You're right. And if I were the owner, and I don't know if they have franchises at Panda Express. First of all, I was the owner. I'd be eating there all the time. It wouldn't be good. I'd be eating up all the profits. But I agree with you that on behalf of other customers and customer service, I do tend to believe customers always right type of thing. And I would have given the rice, within reason. And just, said, my bad, have a good day. I don't know that would have appeased this one. But you're right about that. Let's bring it on down. He kept remarking that he was embarrassed. People were looking at him. I suspect they were looking because he was amped up and he wanted to argue. And those days where you can tell someone just wants to argue. He could have sweetly leaned in and just said, "You know what? This rice was a little undercooked. Can you just..." That's right. I do that. Right. And first of all, I don't mess with people, Senator, who are
not cooking our food.
Duh.
First of all, if you and I gonna get into an altercation over my food, I'm not eating there.
No. It just had to be on the way.
Just gonna keep my money back. I'm going somewhere else.
We'll go somewhere else. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't need you, messing with my food after I got smart with you. And then he has the money and the cash and stuff. This ain't Magic City.
That's
okay.
It.
Stop it. But I agree with you.
You don't mess with people who cooking your food and who have your toothbrush, okay?
Hello.
Understand that.
Hello. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about my younger days, but he made me real mad. So not everything is right. I don't condone it. But this occurs to you when you have access to someone's personal toiletries.
Hey, we're all human, Sharon Reed. If you did it, he deserved it. So I'm on team Sharon Reed.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I wasn't even 21, but I do recall it. I've asked for forgiveness and stuff, but it happened. I can't go back. Let's move on to this one, Senator, and I'm going to apologize in advance because, again, you're royalty to me. I know you can handle it, but I don't like to burden you sometimes with certain details, but it's in the rundown. I'm going to go ahead and I know you can handle it. It's that you have to that gives me somewhat, just a tiny bit of shame. This man... Well, there's no other way to put it. He stuck antiques in his rectum and put them on shelves. That's what it says. That's what he's accused of. This is in Texas. Michael C. Vest, a 60-year-old kilt-wearing man, was arrested last week after he was caught on surveillance footage from an antique shop. Okay. He's looking, lots of people love antiquing, I think they call it. Allegedly grabbing several items off of the shelves, placing those items in his rectum before returning them to the shelves. The items were, oh dear, a makeup brush, a restoration hardware piece, an antique bottle opener, and a tobacco tent can. Now, I like my stuff new and in the sealed wrapper. Okay, and I get why people like antiques, but this ought to make you think twice. This is what the surveillance shows. Now, according to a news release from the Harris County Constable Precinct 4 office, deputies on Thursday, February 15th, received calls from multiple concerned citizens. The incidents allegedly occurred at two different shops, the Antique Gallery of Houston and the Curiosity Shop, both of which are on Town Drive in Spring, Texas. The afternoon of February 10th, authorities said this went down. Law and Crime with the chronicling here salacious details. Per the affidavit, the owner of the antique gallery told deputies that she witnessed Vest pick up the makeup brush and hardware piece, shove both items in his anus, then return the items to the shelf. She said the value of the damaged items was $130. The owner of the Curiosity Shop on February 10 reported to deputies that she had reviewed security footage showing a man matching Vest's description doing the same thing with the bottle opener and tent can, noting that her damages were $74. Law and Crime again. Boy, they've done hella reporting here. Both complaints advised they had to throw away the items that were used in this incident due to feces being on them. Affidavit states. Both provided the video surveillance of the incidents and both wished to pursue charges. Vest was released from the Harris County Jail on Friday after posting a personal bond of $100. It is not clear when he's scheduled to appear in court. Well, I've been talking too much, Senator, so I'm going to just turn it over to you to give reaction here. I don't know what is the motivation for this kind of thing. I can tell you, you don't either. You would not know the motivation for this. But what do we do with this?
I mean, apparently something is wrong with this man. I mean, that's crystal clear.
Yeah.
Some kind of thrill seeking to do this kind of thing in public in this way. He needs some help. Seek help. They should get him some psychological help. This is one situation where I'm saying, jail time. You know, the owners want him to pay for what he did, and he should. He needs some psychological testing on this because this is just not normal.
It's not. And I debated as I was reading the news release if I were an owner of the Curiosity Shop or the gallery down there in Spring, Texas, if I would even want to make a complaint knowing it would go public. Already you have to swab down, disinfect your entire shop. This is just what they know, okay? There's not cameras everywhere. I would have to handle this. And I don't want to deter, antiquers are loyal people. They like to go to the same places. It's not their fault, but I don't know that I want to return to these places. Just visually imagining what went down here or up, I don't want to be there. And I wouldn't know what to touch. They tell you, don't touch things because you don't want to break things. And these are valuables. It's unfortunate. I'll give you the last word if you'd like it, Senator.
Oh, no.
You good?
Miss Sharon Reed, I'm good on this one. You have spoken.
Well, like I said, she is, I bow down to you, and this was in the rundown. Had I known that I would have said, take it out. Just take it out. Don't make Senator Turner react to this. This is a bigger platform. This is indisputable. We'll get the senator together And we'll patch things up, and we'll get some of your reactions when we come right back.
Every day, the Young Turks delivers 2 hours of solid, fact-based, timely news and progressive commentary on all the day's most important stories. We keep our viewers informed while also providing perspective and insight on the news we cover, so you understand not only what's happening, but also what's happening behind the scenes, the stories behind the stories.
We play musical chairs and put these children in one awful detention facility to the next. That's what's happening at the border.
The things that got him banned, he's still spreading. So presumably, I think it's reasonable to say that if you allow him back on the website, he's going to do it again.
Any legal voter that we deem not willing to vote for my side shouldn't vote because it'll replace me that's supposed to vote for my side. That's not how voting works. That's not how democracy works.
And while many people following today's political news can get discouraged about the direction of the nation and the world, that's not us. At TYT, we're genuinely optimistic about the future, and with good reason. Today, wide majorities of Americans agree with our progressive stances on issues ranging from healthcare and education to climate, immigration, and wages. The rising generation of young people are also overwhelmingly progressive in their political beliefs and policy objectives, and they're increasingly flexing their muscle as voters and activists to demand change from our elected officials. The traditional mainstream media is mostly AWOL. They, along with the government and many other cherished institutions, have been captured by corporate interests. Audiences sense that they're not getting the whole story or even the truth from once trusted outlets, whether broadcasting cable TV news networks or national newspapers and magazines. The antidote is the Young Turks. Unlike mainstream corporate outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma, and we don't carry water for the Republican or Democratic parties. So watch us Monday to Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and join the thousands of progressives around the globe who tune in every day for TYT's unmatched, award-winning content and see what it's like to experience a news organization that only answers to you.
I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care. I don't care, I don't believe in it, and I have the right, based on our Constitution, to not believe in it.
Join the Dragon Squad by becoming a YouTube channel member. Click the join button below or sign up on tyt.com/join to get access to fun emojis, a member-only chat, exclusive shop TYT designs, ad-free watching, and so many other amazing perks. Plus, you get bragging rights for being part of the coolest community on the internet and help us drive real positive change in the world. The Dragon Squad awaits, so join today.
The media can't stop talking about gridlock in Washington, as if a handful of stubborn Republicans are the only thing standing between us and a fully functional democracy. The reality is that our government was taken over by big business and their allies in both political parties. And corporate media adds to the dysfunction. The good news is that the American people are progressive and soon will take over Washington. My book, Justice is Coming, is our battle plan for making that happen. You can get Justice is Coming wherever books and audiobooks.
Welcome back to Indisputable. We are regaining our composure, and a lot of you have something to say about the last story, the perp who went antiquing inserted items into his rectum. Next, TYT reporter's reaction. How else could you possibly know the size of the head of a porcelain doll? Okay. Lynn, I suspected you would be getting with us on this one. This antique story is good for my diet. I've completely lost my appetite. I understand. And it's warranted. YouTube about the Karen. G. Martinez Max says, no, you're embarrassing yourself holding up a phone during a lunchtime rush trying to get some clickbait. Agreed. And once again, about the gentleman who had the activity with his rectum. Javar Ellis, imagine how long this man has been in prison to learn how to do all of this. I don't know that to be the case. I don't know. One more member for 18 months. We appreciate you. Woohoo, I'm legal. Keep up the great work, ladies. You are making the doc proud. Vote blue people. One more for you, Benjamin Morrill, member for 6 months. Thank you, Benjamin. Dang, it's wonderful having the senator and Sharon on today. Member, but never get it live. If not, the good doc, the next best possible. We're trying to hold it down, okay? And yes, it's a treat. You always look so happy, Senator, and I think it's because you have taken full stock of your life and you don't leave anything on the table. That's how I see you. You're someone who just goes for it. And you don't have to get it perfect. You seem perfect to us, but I think that it radiates off of you. I do.
Oh, thank you,
Okay.
Sharon. It's hard. I have my days, let me tell you. But
Well,
thank you.
Your day can't possibly be like this next story. Okay. Where you fall short.
Or the one we just did.
No, you would never fall, this hard. Donald Trump confuses indictment, the word indictment, with the N-word. He was the 45th president of the United States, only the best people. I'm going to keep saying that. Well, go ahead and watch.
But a lot of them come to me and they'll say, how do you do it? You go through all these subpoenas. You got indicted. Now, in my whole life, I didn't know what the N-word, I didn't know what indictment meant. You got indicted more than Alphonse Capone, Scarface.
He knows what the N-word is, of course. Let's stop it right there. He knows. Okay. Per Atlanta Black Star, Donald Trump sparked controversy at a Saturday campaign rally in Waterford Township, Michigan, where he fumbled a new version of the N-word into a speech about his ongoing legal troubles. The unforced error occurred as Trump attempted to say the word indictment, but instead blurted out N-word in an apparent Freudian slip before quickly correcting himself in his next breath. My whole life, I didn't know what the N-word, I didn't know what indictment meant. The GOP frontrunner fumed before hundreds of his supporters after a judge ordered him to pay $355 million as part of a crushing civil fraud verdict in New York. Remember, it's now pretty much $500 million because of interest, the other cases. It's a lot of money. Trump's speech dripped with grievances and led to immediate speculation whether the N-word miscue was intentional, as Trump has been known for stirring racial tensions with innuendo and dog whistles aimed at riling up his MAGA base. Are you proud to be part of something like that? And that's just a question. You can't compartmentalize and leave one part out of it. That's a major source of inspiration and fuel for his base. Although Trump has never been recorded using the actual N-word, it appears he has gone out of his way at times to inject the euphemism for the racial term into matters where it doesn't seem to fit. During a 2022 interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, Trump used the N-word to describe the word nuclear while discussing Russian President Vladimir Putin's public comments about atomic weapons. Trump said, quote, Putin uses the N-word. I call it the N-word. He uses the N-word, the nuclear word, all the time. That's a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. His use of it then was widely seen as bizarre and out of context, with the term's typical use as reference to a racial slur. Meanwhile, Chris Kise, Trump's principal lawyer in the New York case, told Newsweek Trump plans to challenge Judge Arthur Engoron's definition of fraud that led to the $355 million judgment, saying, quote, the case raises serious legal and constitutional questions regarding fraud claims and findings without any actual fraud. Now, this is a real lawyer. I do need the team to, this is a lawyer, right? And he is barred. He's gone to law school. Okay. I'm getting the thumbs up. Asked about the timing of the appeal, Kai said, quote, it will depend on many factors, so it's hard to say at the moment, but in any event, it will fall within the 30-day clock. Time's a ticking. That is allowed by the court. Kai's accused New York Attorney General Letitia James and Judge Engoron of trying to run Trump out of New York and said it was bad for the city. Newsweek, I mean, they are trying to run Trump out of New York. Okay, Captain Obvious, that's the plan. We don't want you here, okay? You're not good for the city. Fraud's not good for people. James sued Trump, his two adult sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, Trump Organization, and two, well, executives, Alan Weisselberg and Jeff McConney, September 2022. And Engoron, who oversaw the trial, found that Trump inflated his assets to get more favorable business loans. Late last year, continuing into early January, a trial was held to determine how much the former president and his associates would pay in damages. February 16th, Engoron ruled Trump will have to pay roughly $355 million in penalties. Trump, Weisselberg, McConney. They'll also be barred from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation or other legal entity in the state for 3 years. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric, they were ordered to pay more than $4 million and were barred from doing business in the state for 2 years. So I don't think it's enough. I'm not the judge, and I didn't hear every word of testimony, but just 3 years, it almost makes it worth it if you kind of just do the math and say, well, I got away with this. And again, we want to be clear here, right, Senator? That this isn't like a punishment. They're saying you must pay back the money. You stole money, basically. Ill-gotten gains, you have to repay them. What do you make, though, of this man who perhaps is out of touch with reality or just incredibly bratty and privileged, who has so many grievances? You've been given so much, and then you raped America's coffers and left office, and you brag about being able to get money from mere mortals, and a little funding at a time, little donations at a time. What do you make of someone who it just rolls off the tongue, these grievances? This isn't real, is it?
Well, it's his privileged position. I mean, you named it. It is bratty. It's a very grown man at this stage of his life, almost 80, who's still acting like a teenager. And he is a privileged person, has been one since birth, and you can see it. He's never grown up at all. It's very clear. And yeah, you're right. He has to pay that money back. And I know they're going to appeal, but yeah, they said that. You got to do that. What, $340-something million? Oh yeah, bro, you got to pay that back. They will appeal. I don't know, Sharon, the N-word thing, let me go back to that. Well, no, before I go there, stock trading, for example. I mean, Trump has been clear about how he wants to exploit and pillage. I mean, he said he was going to become president, that he was going to drain the swamp. He neglected to tell people that he was captain of the team. And though you have so many elected officials who are very much a part of that swamp, and I get it. If people are a Democrat, they don't want to talk about their teammates who are part of the swamp. If you're a Republican, you turn the other cheek on or turn your back on what your teammates are doing. Both political parties do that, and especially in reference to this stock trading. It should be illegal to do so, to be able to write the rules and then to make money from it. That is happening in this Congress as we speak, which has nothing to do with Donald J. Trump. Those were the rules before he became president. They are the rules now. And you have several elected officials over the course of many Congresses that have introduced legislation to stop this from happening. And you have no takers. Even when Democrats are in control, they will not change these rules because guess what? The corporatists of both parties make money from this type of corruption, Sharon. So whether it's Donald J. Trump or Nancy Pelosi or Joseph R. Biden, you name it, these people are making that kind of money and it is legal to do so. And we should put a stop. We should put a stop to it as a country. As far as the N word, I don't know, Sharon, indictment.
I don't understand
And a Floridian slip, is an unintentional error that somebody makes that reveals some subconscious thoughts. And that is what makes this story intriguing in a way, because he confused if only the N word really did mean indictment, Sharon, this would be a whole different world. I'm gonna lighten up on them. I rarely do on this because indictment, the N word, and he did rebound rather quickly. Now, if we're gonna hold Donald J. Trump accountable for this Freudian slip, then oh my God, Joseph R. Biden.
Oh goodness.
Many.
Okay. And you're right, and you're so right to boil it down to what it is. Okay, the first part of your commentary. Stop making it so complicated about all these regulations. You are writing the rules and you're benefiting from them, and it's both sides. Okay, they could do away with that, but damn it, they just won't do it, will they? I wonder why. Because to the victor goes the spoils. Oh, that's right. You think you own it. Are you that different than other places? I'm just asking for a friend. We'll move on, shall we? Even though I have admitted to doing something prior to the age of 21 with an soon-to-be ex's toothbrush, I don't condone it. I said it was wrong. This is grown people doing this stuff. An angry Airbnb host sent a guest's wife a photo of him cheating. According to a lawsuit obtained by the Daily Beast, when dissatisfied Airbnb guest and Mississippi resident Sean Mackey posted review of his stay, no idea, superhost Pamela Fuller would email his wife this photo taken by one of the property security cameras, which the suit alleges showed Mackey in the company of another female at 3:16 a.m. Would be just an innocent thing. He's helping a young lady out. 3 a.m, her car is stuck outside. Well, let's read on. Mackey rented a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home for a weekend with old friends in Memphis. But after Mackey refused to pay $960 in additional fees and penalties for allegedly having extra guests over, well, she had to investigate. Okay, he said you were going to have this many people, and apparently you had more. Violating 2 of the house rules as well, Fuller sent the image, which the plaintiff's marriage has suffered as a result, the suit says. Adding the situation has caused Mackey extreme emotional distress, public humiliation, and mental anguish. The wife done dug in your, okay? And I believe that would cause anguish, okay? I'm yet to hear about personal responsibility, and I'm not condoning any of this, but there's more. According to the lawsuit, which was initially filed in September and July 2022, Mackey had planned to attend a football game in Memphis that fall, and a friend of Mackey had recommended the little bit more country Airbnb, the home which Mackey was renting for, $567 a night. It could accommodate up to 12 guests per the listing. Little bit more country. This looks charming. Okay. Mackey booked the stay for September 9th to September 11th for a total of 4 guests. In his exchanges with the Airbnb host, Mackey said he may invite additional pals over for a very low-key dinner, but they will not be spending the night. Sounds like a lovely time, Fuller replied. I would be delighted to host you. The New York Post giving us more on this one. In response, the suit says he was asked by Fuller to send the names of the extra guests and was sent a detailed list of the property's do's and don'ts, as well as a warning that the home had surveillance cameras on the outside. Lawsuit says Mackey sent a list of 9 people he expected to join him and confirmed only 4 or 5 of them would be sleeping over. In response, the suit claims Fuller said she would only be able to accommodate 8 guests. The Root chiming in with more details. About 45 minutes later, an increasingly frantic Fuller messaged Mackey again. Hello, Sean. I'm asking you to either add the extra guests now or have them leave immediately. We also have gotten complaints of disturbances, yelling, profanity in the parking area. Our home is in a quiet neighborhood, and we need to maintain that. Roughly 15 minutes after that, Fuller messaged Mackey yet again. I'm very sorry, but you have violated the no party rule, disturbed my neighbors by cursing and yelling in the parking lot, and have unauthorized guests. I'm asking you to leave now. I cannot allow you to stay. I am sorry. Ooh. After that, she sent a third message saying Mackey violated the no party rule and must vacate the premises as he lost his privileges to stay at the Airbnb, according to a screenshot of the correspondence. Mackey insists in the lawsuit that he didn't throw a party. And only 5 people showed up at the home, all of whom he claims were not hooting and hollering in the parking area as alleged. Were they hooting and hollering elsewhere? This is just asking a question. With nowhere else to go, Mackey called Fuller to speak with her directly, according to the lawsuit, which Fuller's husband, Jamie, answered the phone. Mackey explained the situation to Jamie, who said Mackey could continue his stay without further consequence or interruption. The suit explains. Daily Beast, everybody's getting in on this one. Mackey's suit says he received checkout instructions the next morning per typical protocol. However, he and his guests didn't leave until the original checkout day, which was the following day, per the suit. After leaving the property, he says he left a review on the website expressing dissatisfaction with his stay and requesting a $502.46 refund for at least one night's worth of his payment. Mackey then claimed Fuller harassed him after reading the review and said Airbnb removed it from the page. A few days later, suit claims he was, placed under an investigation by the company and his account was suspended. During the battle over whether Mackey deserved to be on the Airbnb ban list, Fuller messaged him offering to send photo and video evidence of her claims that he invited a few too many people over, the suit says. They just gonna keep going with it. According to the suit, the videos were too large to be sent by text. Okay, so Fuller said she would post them to YouTube shortly and have a wonderful weekend. Attached to the text message was a photograph depicting Mackey in the company of another female, not his wife, taken by one of the cameras at Fuller's Airbnb home. I'm gonna call her Miss Petty because she didn't do it now. You should just stop, okay? Shouldn't it? 2 days later, Mackey received a bill from Airbnb for $960. According to the suit, he was being fined $160 for 4 extra guests, 2 nights at $20 a night, $250 for violating rule number 6, no local guests allowed, $250 for violating rule 8, excessive noise, $300 for moderation of your review. The lawsuit alleges Mackey refused to pay, which is when he claims things took a turn for the worse. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Retaliation up next. For his failure to comply, the lawsuit says Fuller set up a phony email account with a sexual reference, apparently pretending to be Mackey on September 2022. The suit claims Fuller emailed the photo to Mackey's wife at her work. Subject line read, "Nice bag." And the picture of Mackey and the unidentified woman was embedded in the body of the email. "I love your bag. Where'd you get it?" The message read. As a result, Mackey claims we do have a senator, an esteemed senator on today. I did not. The rundown was set, and I apologize, Senator, but there's just a little more. If you will bear with us, you're a classy woman, but this is there's something in here we do need a comment from you on. I'll just give you the rest, okay? Mackey claims this ordeal has severely damaged his marriage and accuses Airbnb of aiding in the illegal and abhorrent conduct of their superhost Feller denied ever having correspondence with Mackey's wife, and Airbnb has since filed a motion to compel arbitration per court document. I think he'd want to arbitrate and just like let this thing go quietly into the night. Feller has filed a motion to dismiss. Mackey has until February 21 to file his response to both. Well, this is mental gymnastics. I don't know who the young lady is. Okay. And as he said, it was a few pals. Senator, there's some petty things going on here. And I don't know if it's just the super host, but I got out of the Airbnb game because it was constantly, I had a house that served 12 and I had it set up so cute. Okay. Just so cute. And I would constantly get these complaints about you set no parties. I'd come and you found drug paraphernalia. No, I'm not. I just was got to be too much. Now, did I do this? Okay. I hadn't thought of it actually, but I'd be pretty mad sometimes. But what do you make of this? He's upset. His marriage, his wife dug in and she's upset. You did not follow the rules. Right this ship for us, please.
The crew today, Sharon, I appreciate them because so often I have to deal with life and death issues here. So to have a moment of levity, a few stories of levity, definitely they'd have made my day. Sharon, this is Made for Reality TV right here. And Mackey should understand, you got to follow the house rules, boo. Especially when the person that controls the house has video. Now, you're right, Sharon Reed. We don't know. Maybe that lady was his cousin, his sister, his auntie. We don't know. But she should go and come forward and say, all that was seen on the video, the context is not quite right. And go on and get this brother out of this trouble. But camera footage, you mess with the owner of the house, you mess with the wife of the house that owns the house. No matter what the husband said, the wife is getting the final say here. And as you said before, she is definitely, if we had a contest for Queen of Petty for this circumstance, she wins the crown, baby. She's made it the crown. Yeah, he done messed with the wrong one.
She's on the float waving at people. Miss Patty. And I do think there's a lesson to be had here. I don't know what Mackey was up to in that home. A picture perhaps is worth 1,000 words, or it could be, a gambling buddy from college. We don't know.
It could be
but
innocent.
I do know this. You have an Airbnb account. You're married. Your spouse presumably will have access to some things. You might not want to post that bad review. You just don't stay at the old country, this charming little spot. You don't stay there anymore. Squash it. Okay, because now your marriage is broken and things are happening. Now, I suspect, though, if it's broken, well, it's just me and my experience. Maybe I'm getting old, but there's usually not a one-off at this point, okay? The wife is not going to just go ballistic. I speak for other women. If this is a one-off and you're trustworthy. I don't want to get involved in this case any more than we are. That's just a personal opinion. Y'all need to go on and arbitrate this. You don't want this smoke, Mackey. She got more pictures. Thank you, Senator. Because that's another thing I love about you, down to earth. And you're able to comment on anything, okay? Way up here, or bring it down a little further. You tend to be able, and that's why you relate to everyone, and that's why we love you.
Oh, I love you too. I'm just a human being in this world. Hey, I get it. This is human beings being human beings. Life is life.
That's right. I wonder, this next one, does Clarence Thomas have his price? Will he resign for the right number? Well, we'll see. John Oliver offers Clarence Thomas millions to just resign. Boo, if you will just go, we'll enrich you. Okay? Well, let's see. Per Deadline and the Daily Beast, John Oliver's season 11 premiere last week tonight ended with what may be his boldest move yet when he offered sitting Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas $1 million per year plus a $2.4 million state-of-the-art motor coach to replace the justice's current rig. If Thomas resigns immediately from the position, Oliver's offer expires in 30 days. I wonder if he's considering this. During the segment, Oliver said, quote, Clarence Thomas is arguably the most consequential justice on the court right now, and he's never really seemed to like the job. He said it's not worth doing for the grief. So what if he could keep the luxury perks that he clearly enjoys without having to endure all of that grief? We have a special offer for you tonight. We are prepared to offer you $1 million a year for the rest of your life if you simply agree to leave the Supreme Court immediately and never come back. Now, that's the offer, okay? Where this is not a negotiation. Leave, and don't you come back there now. And leave the robe, too. Right? Oliver then displayed a contract. This is a legal thing. He's had it drawn up. Not a joke, he said. This is real. $1 million a year, until you or I die. He said he and his show spoke with legal experts who assured him the offer is legal. Oliver admitted he might regret this offer if Thomas accepts it. I could be doing stand-up tours for your retirement for years. Daily Beast with the comments here. Oliver had spent the bulk of the episode diving into the many conflicts of interest surrounding multiple members of SCOTUS, how the American public's approval of the court has sunk to 18 percentage points, and how important some of the cases in front of SCOTUS are now. Not just, the issues involving whether former President Donald J. Trump should be disqualified from the 2024 ballot due to insurrection under the 14th Amendment, or whether Trump has immunity from any prosecution, but also matters involving abortion rights, as well as the right of the federal government to regulate anything at all. Oliver zeroed in, however, on Thomas, whose lack of recusals in cases involving his wife, Ginny, are just the tip of the iceberg compared to the financial favors Thomas's wealthy friends have given him since his appointment. He has this look on his face like, what you gonna do about it? You see it? I see it. And I don't want him looking at me. And I had this conversation with the team. I know I'm a guest here, but whenever they put up this picture, I have an extreme aversion to it. And I want him to stop looking at me. I need it off of there. Thank you. Because it really throws me off. And it gets me quite emotional because I feel like he's targeting me. And it sounds crazy. It's just a picture. I know. Put it back up and show them. And then tell me if you don't see it too. You see what I mean? It's the smirk. It's the eyes. It's the head tilt. I'll just keep my head down. One such favor per 2017 episode of 60 Minutes and more recently questioned is a $267,000 loan the Thomases were given for their beloved motor coach. Go ahead, look at this.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has been an RV evangelist for decades, traveling the country in a 40-foot luxury motor coach that he purchased in 1999 after borrowing more than $250,000 from a wealthy friend.
This whole motorhome thing started because someone said it'd be a good idea.
But a new report from Democrats on the Senate Finance Committee alleges Thomas's friend forgave a substantial amount of that massive loan. And 9 years later, his friend forgave all the debt. The IRS considers debt forgiveness as a form of income, but Thomas never reported it on his financial disclosure forms, a likely violation of federal ethics rules. And he never reported it on his tax returns, potentially owing money to the IRS.
Well, shouldn't there be an investigation like with Hunter Biden? And then something about taxes, and I think he paid the money back, Hunter, but I'm just saying I would think there was an investigation. Oliver described the current SCOTUS as a breaking point. Said legislative fixes such as enforceable ethics codes, term limits, expanding the number of justices might help, but he conceded that those ideas might not ever come to fruition, which is why Oliver hoped a new coach worth 10 times Thomas's current one would appeal to him. The new $2.4 million rig features a bedroom with a king bed, 1.5 baths, a fireplace, 4 TVs, a residential length fridge, plus a washer and dryer. Standing in front of the souped-up motor coach, Oliver ended the episode throwing a stack of bills into the air and declaring 30 days, Clarence. Let's do this. Your move, Clarence. your effing mood. What about some others on the court? Is there more money that can be raised? Senator, I want you to tackle this one. This is a legal offer. Clarence Thomas doesn't usually say much, although he did chime in a lot in this Colorado recusal case that the court was hearing. Suddenly he spoke first. I remember reading a poll that showed where he did not say anything. He was the last justice on the list. Even the new black magic lady on the court had already said more than he had, but suddenly he's leading the cause here. What do you make of this? Would the court be better if Clarence Thomas would just do what we all believe he wants? Take the money.
Well, what a lot of wealthy men and or women want is power. So no, he's not leaving that court. You can't pay for that. Power is the key here. And we ask ourselves, why do ultra wealthy people run for office? Sometimes, why do they want to be governors and presidents, et cetera, et cetera? It is because money is one thing, raw power is another. And to be a United States Supreme Court justice with a lifetime appointment is power. So no, Mr. Clarence Thomas will not be giving up that power. But John, I don't know, Sharon. Now I think John Oliver wins he got the crown for petty today, because that is quite petty.
It's just so petty and so real. And I'd like to see if there's other offers that are going to be made. But the one thing that got me too is whichever one dies first. If Oliver dies, then the payments stop. Well, we don't know what could happen. I wish him longevity. But to think that I don't know if Clarence Thomas is mulling this over, but I do think that if he wants more money, no one's going to check him still. Just like when he wanted the raise and he started floating that, I might resign. Remember that story, Senator? I know you do, right?
Yeah.
So there are ways that he can get money without going to what he will view as a liberal television comic. I'll give you the last word on this one, but I don't know if Clarence Thomas, if I were thinking of offering something similar, is the most consequential justice. There may be another or two new ones that I'm thinking of who kind of work in tandem, but I could be wrong.
I mean, Clarence Thomas is not the only problem on that court. You know, he's just a poster child for what the American people are seeing, but certainly he is not the only one. So John Oliver is right in terms of expanding the court, which this current president has rejected doing. That would be one thing. Dealing with whether or not they should have lifetime appointments, maybe rotate them to another level of the federal court, because it's not, Sharon, it's not just the United States Supreme Court where there are lifetime appointments. There are courts below the United States Supreme Court where lifetime appointments are in effect and are at issue too. And those courts hear and see many more cases than the United States Supreme Court takes on. So we have a systemic problem here. And Clarence Thomas is just the current poster child for that. If I were a betting woman, Sharon Reed, I would say that this Supreme Court justice is not going to take John Oliver up on this offer because, again, this is really about power.
Yeah, and Ginny won't let him anyway. Okay, Ginny Thomas is not going to let him. But I think you're right. It's not working because remember what lifetime appointments on the Supreme Court were supposed to do. They're supposed to keep you out of politics, not beholden. And that's not what's going on here. It's not. It's like, there's nothing you can do about it now.
Again, and the same offer could be made to the people in Congress. Again, those stock options and being able to stock trade. The system.
What are you going to do about it? Right. Yeah. It's just stinking. I can smell it from here, and I'm in Atlanta. Okay, how many hours drive is that? Senator, it is always a pleasure, and I leave happier and more knowledgeable. Like I said, whenever we are graced with your presence, tell people what you're up to, where they can find you, besides everywhere, and in the gym.
In the gym, definitely in the gym. Well, the pleasure is always mine, Sharon. I think we make such a wonderful team, and we do Dr. Rashad Ritchie very proud. You are an amazingly brilliant and beautiful woman, a bright light and star. And again, on behalf of Clevelanders, we are a lot better because you graced our televisions for so many years.
Taught me everything. Cleveland taught me a lot
in the community. So I love you so very much. I was joking with you that a couple of weeks ago I was on with Dr. Ritchie, and I'm thinking, where is where's the Sharon Reed? Dr. Richie, what you doing here on your own show?
I love it.
Nina Turner on Twitter, at Nina Turner Ohio on the gram, and hell, I don't know what I am on the other platforms, but those
They'll find you.
You can find me. And please go to wearesomebody.org. We have a capacity building organization for working class people, both unionized and non-unionized. And God knows that is the labor space, is the one space where we all come together. No matter how we vibe politically, we can come together to help to ensure that workers make a living wage in this country. So come on, wearesomebody.org.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I know we're out of time, but you can have this boot camp, this mass boot camp in person, then we'll stream it too. And as you have the little headset on and you're kind of taking people through it, she has no back fat, okay? Then you can also impute knowledge, give them little nuggets about labor and things that are going on. I would do that class. Think about it, Senator.
I love that, Sharon. I love that. Derek Dardell, my trainer at Extreme Fitness Compound. Hey, y'all come on through. The brother is masterful. I love that idea.
We're going to put that together. We love you, Senator Turner.
Love you.
Thank you, Dr. Richie, for giving us the platform. I think I was mostly behaved. I don't know how I feel about, well, maybe two of the stories. Not going antiquing anytime soon. I'm Sharon Reed alongside Senator Nina Turner. This is Indisputable. Thanks so much for joining us.